we're business owners.
Yeah.
We all own, like, as you start to do deals, you own stock. Like, this is like a group of owners getting together. It's badass, right? Yeah, this is like a live Zoom call with me and Lars, right? What I tell our organization is like, let's say we were on like a special forces team. We're getting dropped into enemy territory, but we get separated and you're by yourself in the dark, behind enemy lines, your gear gets scattered, and you see somebody coming up over the hill. You're gonna have two responses to that. One response is you're gonna be like, oh man, it's that guy. The second response is you're gonna be like, fuck yeah, it's that guy, bro. Hey, I am gonna be okay. 76% of agents up until June of 2024 hadn't sold one of their own listings. That means 20-something% of the population is listing all the properties, which is where all the leverage is. And only 1.4% of all agents had done more than 30 transactions a year. So it shows the anomaly of doing 100, 150, 60, whatever it is. Like, you know, you might be doing 60 and think like, oh man, because you're looking at people doing 100. I'm like, dude, only 1.4% of the whole population of agents does more than 30 transactions a year.
I came to realize that I was in before joining EXP, a smaller brokerage, 5,000 agents, and I received a call from the broker congratulating me because I did number 4 an entire, and I was like, I only did 50 transactions.
Yes, so you said 5,000 agents.
Yes, 5,000
you were
agents.
fourth, so 1 out of 1,250.
I was surprised.
Think about how many agents, like in terms of rev share, how many agents want to learn how to do what you do.
Yeah.
Or even just be close to you, in proximity with you.
That's right.
But when you're doing it yourself, you don't actually think it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Because it's just part of what you do and it becomes viral.
Well, that, and here's an interesting part, because I know you very well, is that one of the things that they explained at one of the masterminds, which I thought was insightful, is there's a difference between being competitive and being ambitious. So competitive is about comparison. So part of the reason why you're like, oh, that's not a big deal, you're competitive, so what were you doing? Comparing to other people. What ambitious is where I have a love of learning. So he gave an example that in a Netflix documentary, they showed quarterbacks. They showed Kirk Cousins, Marcus Mariota, and Mahomes. Kirk Cousins is extremely competitive. The thing about competitors is that oftentimes what they'll do, like Kirk Cousins will have 2 really awesome games and then a really poor game, right? And Kirk Cousins hasn't won any rings, by the way. And they did in the documentary where they showed where Kirk Cousins, he has like a room of me, like his trophy room. And he pulled out like something his high school coach said about him. And he read it and he's like, yeah, that's still me. That's interesting. He hadn't changed and evolved at all. He's just, but he's competitive. Where Mahomes is ambitious. Mahomes is like, he's making up throws, bro. He's throwing sideways. He's like left on, he's like, and he's constantly evolving. What's interesting is when you watch them play, who has more fun? Way more fun. Who has more rings? 3 and counting. So when I looked at that, I was like, oh, so when you first met me, I was more competitive, yes? Yeah. And what have I become? More ambitious. I think the sweet spot is a mixture of like competitive without comparing, perhaps as much comparing, where you're playing your own game. I'm just competing against like maybe myself or my own metrics, where maybe the game changes to time. How much time could I save instead of like how much money can I make? And it's independent of what other people think or do. But then being more heavily weighted towards ambition, which is a love of learning. And I think in doing that, like I was telling Natalie, she's like, I think it's crazy that like they asked you to be on a panel to talk about media. Because I would just hammer people on how silly that was or dumb it was. I take the responsibility, like Carla tells me in our family life, she's a very strong, aggressive female. She's like, I have no problem with you leading, but you have to lead. Right? So, and sometimes I don't like that because it puts pressure on me, but it forces me to do it. Right? Well, what I told her is like, not only am I a leader in my family, but like to all the people who've decided to partner with us, it's a really big responsibility to lead. So I need to be ruthlessly, constantly in pursuing the truth. And what is true, learning it so I can give it back to other people. But that's that ambitious piece. And now I'm no longer competing with Brian and feel the need to compete with him, where now it's more like equipping him with all the tools that you need. EXP is a platform like YouTube. Because do brokerages actually sell any real estate?
It's the agents.
Just like content creators create all the content.
Right.
It's a platform. The antiquated model of brokerage, they are a platform, but they're existing in the physical world, and that's not where platforms exist.